Hi ladies, welcome to today's video where we're going to talk about 25 things to declutter in 2025. As a working mom, I know that the less things around me, the less clutter, the more organized things are, the more at peace I am, the more creative I am, and the more productive I am both at home and at work. So let's talk about the 25 things we should declutter in 2025. And we are starting off with our purses. When was the last time you took everything out of your purse and kind of looked through what's there? Because I can guarantee you, if it has been a while, you have some hidden treasures in there. I typically will find just some old receipts, some random coins, some chapstick I forgot that I had there, or a lip gloss. And for me, typically I will find about 20 pens in there because apparently every time I go to the store I have to throw a new one with my list and I never take them out. So if it has been a while, declutter your purse, and when you're there already, go ahead and do the same thing with your wallet. The second thing to declutter in 2025 are your kitchen gadgets, the ones that you are no longer using. So we all kind of keep on buying new small appliances, new kitchen gadgets, because we see something on social media, on TV, in a store, and it looks like a great idea, and then we get it home and then we don't end up using it much because we just don't like it. So go around your kitchen and see if you have anything that you no longer are using, or if you have anything that you can basically use something else in your kitchen to do the same job. So I'll give you some examples because I just decluttered my kitchen and I got rid of a few things. I got rid of my toaster, I got rid of my rice cooker, and I did get rid of my air fryer. And here are the reasons why I did that. So by getting a toaster oven, I knew that I could get rid of both the air fryer because I only used it to warm up some pizza rolls for my son from time to time, and a toaster because clearly toaster oven can do the same job. And with the rice cooker, I got it and I thought it was a great little appliance because I would not have to watch when my rice is cooking. And I ended up not liking it at all. I preferred just do it on a stovetop. So because I was not using it, out it went from my kitchen. The third thing that you should get rid of in 2025 are any memberships or subscriptions that you are no longer using. So take a look at all the memberships, at all the subscriptions. If you don't even remember what they are, probably a bank statement will help you with that, or your credit card statement. And you can see what you're paying for and what you are actually using. Maybe you have a subscription to like a subscription box for clothes, for example, and you end up not wearing a lot of those things, or you think now you have too many clothes. Maybe it is something like I had recently where my kids had a subscription box for some toys that they could assemble for some experiments. And while they loved those subscription boxes for a few years now, I noticed that they stopped using it every month and they just kind of lost interest in it. So while the subscription boxes were still good quality and I still love the products, they were not using them. So I ended up pausing the subscription for a while and then ended up canceling them altogether because the kids were just not using them at all. So take a look at that. The less things you're gonna have coming into your house, the less clutter you're gonna have, especially for the things that you are no longer using. The fourth item that you should get rid of in 2025, or declutter I should say, is books. Now hear me out. As you can see in the back, I do have a little library started over there, and I have another bookshelf to my right. I love books and I like to keep the ones that I really have enjoyed. I do have a dream of having like a home library. So I am not against having that in your house. What I am saying though is look through the books and see if you have any of the books that you read and you simply did not like. They did not resonate with you. Those should go. If you have books that have been kind of sitting there for you to read at some later time, and it has been a long time and you really don't feel like, every time you want to read a book, you're like, no, not this one this time, maybe it's time to donate those. And also when you have little kids, as they are growing up, there is going to be more and more books that they just don't read anymore because, a 10-year-old is not going to like a book that was for, a 2-year-old. Go ahead and donate those. You can keep some as a keepsake, but just make sure you declutter the ones that you no longer are going to be reading. And switching gears a little bit, number 5 are unproductive meetings. So if you work in corporate, you know exactly what I mean by that. We attend so many meetings that sometimes you find yourself not having enough time to do the actual work, to work on your priorities, to work on your tasks. So this is the time to go through your calendar and get rid of any meetings that are no longer serving you. And I know it's easier said than done. So if it requires you to sit down with your supervisor, with your manager, go ahead and do that. But just review them and see, you know, are they actually the meetings that are productive? Are they the meetings where you discuss things that are moving you towards completing your priorities, completing your projects? If not, it's time to have a discussion of getting those meetings off of your calendar. And if you are worried that as soon as you get rid of a meeting, somebody else is gonna find that empty spot on your calendar, go ahead and take care of that spot as soon as you can and book a meeting with yourself where you can have some focus time to work on your priorities. Along the same lines as unproductive meetings, go ahead and look at your calendar, not just for work, but also for, you know, for your life outside of work, and see if there are any things that are cluttering your schedule. So maybe you have a lot of commitments that you have, whether it's through like volunteer work or maybe to some after school activities with your kids. Kind of take a look at your calendar and see if you can declutter that. Are you overcommitted and do you need to find some more space in your calendar? Do your kids have activities that are kind of scattered throughout, you know, the week, throughout each evening? Is there any way for you to kind of either consolidate or kind of rearrange when those activities are happening? Can you work with other parents to do some carpooling? That's gonna free up some space in your calendar. Just kind of declutter it in a way that creates some empty space for you, because then again, you're gonna have time, whether it is to relax, whether it is to do some things related to home management, whatever that is, declutter your calendar. Number 7 are clothes and shoes that you are no longer wearing. So if you find yourself getting ready in the morning or picking out clothes for the next day and you have nothing to wear, or it takes you forever to decide, it is probably time to declutter your clothes and your shoes. Look through your closet, look through your dressers, and get rid of anything that you no longer like. Get rid of anything that maybe you're saving because I don't fit in it right now, but I might fit into it later. And get rid of anything that you think you're not gonna wear right now because it went out of style, but you really like it and you're gonna wear it in a few years. Chances are you are not gonna wear that. And I learned a very good tip from the Minimal Mom, who said, you know, when it comes to your clothes or probably any other item, if you are not sure if, or if it's hard to like let it go, you're not sure if you should do it or not, put it in a box, put it outside somewhere, you know, in your storage area, in your basement, in your attic, and out of sight, out of mind. If you don't think about it in the next 6 months, then you can get rid of it. You know you didn't miss it. So look through your clothes and look through your shoes and declutter whatever you are no longer wearing. Number 8 of things that you should get rid of in 2025 is things that you keep just in case. I know every time I went through some sort of like a decluttering of any area in my house, I find things that I have not used in years, but I am keeping it just in case I might need it. It might be a kitchen gadget, it might be some tool, like I know I have somewhere like a knife sharpening tool that you can, you know, like an electrical one you can plug in. I have not used that in probably, I'm gonna say 8 years. And every time I declutter, it's just still there. Well, maybe I will use it. I don't. So I promised myself the next time I'm going through that area of my storage room, I am getting rid of that one. So there are things throughout that you tend to keep just in case of some sort of random emergency, like my knife is dull and I cannot find anything else to sharpen it with, and then you end up not using that. So get rid of those things in 2025. Number 9 are piles of paperwork. 2025 is a year to get rid of those piles. So go through your paperwork. Anything that you need to keep because of like legal reasons and stuff, put it away in an organized manner in some box. The rest of it, you're gonna have to get rid of all the junk that you're holding on to. If there are bills, switch over to like auto payments from your bank so you don't have to worry about papers coming into your house. Just really do a good job decluttering all the paperwork. I promise it's gonna make a huge difference for you. Now, you're not gonna be able to eliminate everything. So once you do like this giant purge of your papers, then you can implement like a little decluttering session throughout the year where you're just kind of managing the paper that is actually coming in. That, is almost unavoidable to get some paper. And especially if you're like me and you do like, write to-do list on a paper and just kind of like the idea of notebooks and stuff, but get rid of the vast majority of the piles of papers that are just cluttering your house. Number 10, besides the papers, you have digital stuff that you need to get rid of. And think about all the documents that you have on especially on your desktop. If you are like me, I found that I am so much more productive and it's so much less overwhelming when I turn on my computer and my desktop doesn't have like 50 different folders on it. So if you are that person, make sure you get rid of all the stuff from your desktop. Declutter your digital files. A lot of those things, I'm telling you, it's gonna be junk. So just clear it off. It's gonna probably take some time if you haven't done it in a while, but it's gonna make you so much more productive and so less overwhelming when you're trying to get something done, or if you're looking for something and you cannot find it because there is just so many different documents and files. And number 11 on the list is email, and I put it in a separate category because I feel like it needs a separate category. Emails are kind of like the modern paper clutter. It's just digital clutter, and we have so many emails at work, at our personal email addresses. Inboxes are just exploding. So 2025 is your year to declutter your inbox. The first thing that you can do to kind of stop the flood of the emails that are coming in your inbox is to unsubscribe from things that just kind of are cluttering your inbox. And I just heard a tip recently that if you are subscribing to a lot of things like, to get a promotional coupon or just some company to get a discount or whatever that is, create a completely separate email account for those so you don't have to worry about decluttering that. If you need something, you just go there and grab it, and you don't have to worry about clearing of your inbox as often. The other thing is, if your inbox right now has hundreds or thousands of emails, it is time to just clear it off. I know it might be very scary to say, oh my goodness, what if there is something that I actually need? Maybe there is something important. If that is the case, I suggest create like a folder in your inbox, just mark it, I don't know, old emails, and just dump everything there. So in case you need something moving forward tomorrow, next week, you can always go in there and kind of look for it the same way you would look in your inbox. But keep your inbox clear, because I feel like the more emails we get, as soon as we get in the inbox, it can become overwhelming. And your brain kind of starts to be all over the place, and it's the opposite of feeling calm and productive that we want to be. So clear off your inbox, declutter everything that doesn't belong there. Number 18 are apps on your phone. Your phone has so many things on it that you need to declutter it, just like we did other digital files and email. Go look through your phone, see what applications you are no longer using. There is probably plenty of those. I know sometimes when I go to work or to a conference, there is an application they want you to download so you know where to go each day. Once the conference is over, this should be deleted, but sometimes you just forget and you keep it there. Well, maybe I need some notes, or maybe I need some presentation. When you are flying out and you don't do it that frequently, maybe the app for the airlines can be deleted from your phone, and if you need it again, you can just easily download that. Those are the things that doesn't cost you anything to download it again, and it probably takes less than a minute to get it back on your phone. So go through your applications and get rid of anything that you are not using on a regular basis. And maybe if you have few that you use sporadically, maybe put them in like a separate folder on your phone so you still have access to that. But when you're trying to find an app that you actually need, you don't have to scroll through like a few screens to get to it. Number 13 on the list are beauty products. So basically anything related to your makeup, your hair, cosmetics, anything that you have, just look through that, because the chances are you have things that are expired, you have things that you no longer like or use, You have things that you have multiple of that you probably don't need. Just go through it and get rid of anything that you no longer need, and that's gonna help you get ready in the morning much faster because you don't have to dig through a lot of those things. Number 13 is your freezer. So freezer is the area where sometimes it is hard to see exactly what you have. And it's not something we kind of declutter on a very regular basis. So declutter your freezer in 2025. Take everything out. Organize it in a way that everything is more visible for you. Get rid of anything that you don't know what it is. Maybe you had some left over in a Ziploc bag and you didn't label that, so you're not really sure what that is or how long ago you put it there. That goes out. Anything that maybe has a freezer burn, anything that you think has expired, make sure you get rid of it and clear off your freezer. It's gonna make cooking a much easier chore than it is right now. Number 15 is your pantry. Similar to the freezer, now pantry, it's probably easier to see what you have versus the freezer. It's just more convenient to take things out of the pantry. But if you have a big pantry or a pantry that you have not really gone through in a while, make sure that you do. I can guarantee you're gonna find things that have expired. I can guarantee you're gonna find things that you forgot you had. You will find things that you have multiple things of that you keep buying in a store because you think you don't have. So declutter your pantry so you can keep it more organized and you can actually see what you have and then bring less things into your house. And make sure that when you're decluttering your pantry, you get rid of any like random bins that you have. Maybe you don't need bins for every single product that you are storing in your pantry. I know one lesson I have learned, I think last year, was that I don't need a bin for every type of pasta that I buy because some pasta I use the whole box every time. So it makes really no sense for me to put the thing out of the box into a separate container and that dump the whole thing when I'm cooking. It just makes no sense. So if there's anything like that, any extra containers that you're using, make sure you declutter those as well. And since we are talking about pantry and freezer, number 16 is going to be a recipe book. So if you have actual cookbooks, go ahead and declutter and see if there are ones that you no longer are even opening. Maybe there are just a few recipes from there and just maybe tear off those pages or photocopy them and keep just those couple of recipes that you are using and get rid of the cookbooks. And if you are like me, where most of your, if not all of your recipes are in a recipe binder, look through those recipes. Are there things in there that you have not cooked in a few years? Or maybe you tried it and you didn't really like it. Those recipes should go out of your binder so your binder only has recipes that you are actually using. It's gonna make it so much easier for you to come up with a meal plan and for you to actually prep your food, prep your meals, than if your recipe binder is so full that you don't know what to do with it. Number 17 on the list of things to declutter in 2025 are all the extra things. So what I mean by that, sometimes we tend to just have a lot of things as extras. So it's typical for us to have, for example, some extra soap, extra body wash, extra laundry detergent. But there are then some areas where you are starting to see that either you have way too many of those items, or if it's things that are more like kitchen gadgets that you're keeping extra just in case because you bought a new one, but if this one would break, you're gonna have a backup. So I'll give you a good example of what I had done with, I had a subscription for some cosmetics and I still use them, but I had it set up, I think it was every 2 months or so, I can't remember exactly. And it got to a point where I kept getting those boxes and I just ran out of room to keep them because I never used up the first box yet, even though I use it every day. I was just not using it up enough with the frequency. So at first I kind of delayed the subscription, but then I forgot that even though it was 4 months later, I still got a box and I still haven't used the previous one. So I just canceled it altogether. And once I use up all my products, then I can order a new one. So anything that you have extra, either, cancel your subscriptions, pause your subscriptions, stop buying those things, or if there are things that you're keeping, just in case, an extra of a random, let's say, kitchen gadget, get rid of those because Typically, they're very easy to replace if you need them, and you're just cluttering your house with some extra things. And along the same lines, number 18 is anything that's broken. So if you have a broken kitchen appliance, if you have clothes that need to be mended and they have been sitting somewhere in your closet for the past 6 months, if you have a toy that your kids have broken and you're trying to figure out how to fix it, or just kind of sitting somewhere forgotten but it's in a box to be fixed, get rid of those things. Donate them, somebody else can fix it, or just get rid of them completely and trash it if it really is something beyond repair but you are holding on to them. If it's broken and you haven't fixed it yet, it's probably time to let it go. Number 19 is your junk drawer. We all have one, and it's usually one that tends to get messy. Now, I highly suggest when you are decluttering your junk drawer, really pay attention to what you have in there. So if it's junk, it shouldn't be in your home. If it's something that, my junk drawer has things like, pens and pencils, some office supplies, some scissors, things that we kind of use, in that area in the kitchen and living room, that's where it stays. If there are other things in there that you tend to store in other parts of your house, consider just moving it there and just keeping your junk drawer a little bit organized so it still has a name of a junk drawer, but it's really not junk. Number 20 are toys and games. So it's a no-brainer. Toys and games tend to multiply when you have kids. So it is critical that you declutter those in 2025. I typically recommend doing it twice a year. For me, that is during summertime, so right before the school starts, and then before Christmas. Those are the 2 times of year when I really go through all their toys with them. That's another tip, do it with them so they are the ones who are part of the process. They're learning how to declutter and they kind of help out and get rid of the things that they actually don't play with anymore. But definitely stay on top of those things because they, like I said, they multiply, and it is easier for kids to entertain themselves, to be creative when they don't have toys that are just kind of spilling out from every single area of their playroom or their actual rooms. So if you need some motivation, I definitely have a few videos that you can watch. Now, kids have their toys and we have our hobbies perhaps. So if you have a hobby that has a lot of things associated with it, so things, maybe you like knitting or crocheting, maybe you like scrapbooking, maybe you like reading books, which we already talked about before. Maybe there are some sports that you like to play, whether it's a family or by yourself. Any hobby really, there's usually things that are associated with it. So make sure you go through all those things. Make sure you declutter anything that you no longer are using. So for things like scrapbooking, for me, maybe there are some extra papers that I have and I never use them, I always skip over them. Maybe it's time to get rid of those. So whatever hobby that you have, make sure you go through the things associated with it, because that's gonna make your hobbies more enjoyable when you don't have to look for the things that you actually want to use. Item number 22 is any blankets, any pillows or pillowcases that you use. I live in a cold climate, so for me, blankets are something that we have a lot of in the house. So it is time in 2025 for me and for you to go through your pillows, go through your pillow covers, especially if you like to change them for the season or for the holidays, and through your blankets and see if they are still good to use, or do they need to be replaced. Do you have too many of them? Because that is where decluttering would come in. And make sure that you are kind of getting rid of them as you're getting new things. You, as much as, I enjoy blankets and I enjoy pillows, there is a limit where, at some point it just becomes clutter. I don't need, 5 different kinds of blankets in the same color when I know I'm only using 2 of them because those are my favorite. So make sure you go through those things and make sure you declutter them. Number 23 on the list are holiday decorations. So if you enjoy decorating for holidays, you probably have a lot of bins with decorations for the holidays. 2025 is your year to go through those bins. Get rid of anything that's broken in there, things that you no longer like. Maybe there are things you have not taken out of the bin for the past few years. It's time to let those things go. So you can either do it just take out all your bins and go through them in one session, just kind of all your holiday decor that you have for different parts of the year, or just do it throughout the year as you are, for example, taking out your decorations maybe right now for Valentine's Day or for Easter, St. Patrick's Day. That will be the time for you to, as you are decorating, see what else you're leaving in the box. If there is anything, maybe when you're taking it down, that's also the time, well, I took it out this year, but I really don't like it. Time to let it go. Less is more. And if you tend to buy more things each year, consider getting rid of something from the box first so you can replace it with something new. Number 24 on the list, besides holiday decorations, we have a lot of different other decorations, other trinkets, other little things that are kind of throughout the house. If you're finding yourself, when you're cleaning, when you're dusting, that there's a lot of things that are, in your way, or things that are kind of there because they have always been there. You don't really like it, maybe you got it a few years ago, maybe somebody else gave it to you and you enjoyed it at the time, but you no longer really like it. Your style has changed, which is very, very normal. Get rid of those things. Declutter things in your home, even the little things that no longer serve their purpose. You no longer like them. Get rid of them, and your home should be filled with things that bring you joy, not things that are just there because they have always been there. And finally, number 25. The 25th thing that you should declutter in 2025 is something you may not have thought about, but that is your brain, that is your mind. So our minds tend to be cluttered all the time with different thoughts, ideas, to-do lists. Especially as a working mom, I know that there is like thousands of things going through my brain a lot. And when I find myself that I'm kind of very overwhelmed, like I don't know when I'm gonna get to this thing, and it's hard to concentrate doing anything because that flood of different thoughts is just non-stop. For you to declutter your mind, we already talked about all the other 24 things. Physical clutter also creates mental clutter, so that's gonna help you with the mental clutter as well. But what I found very useful is doing a brain dump. So if you're not familiar with the brain dump, it's basically taking a piece of paper, a notes app on your phone, open a Word document, and just basically transfer anything that's currently cluttering your brain and put it on a paper or on the document. Don't worry about any categories, organizing in any way, just kind of anything that's in your head, just dump it on a paper. And that's gonna help you clear your head, because then your brain is not gonna be constantly preoccupied with trying to remember things for you. I have to go to the store, I have to call a doctor, I have to do this. You already have it on a paper, so your brain kind of takes a break and lets you clear your mind and lets you concentrate on a task at hand. And later you can use that brain dumping paper or a sheet and use that to put it in your calendar and kind of organize it in any way that you want. But brain dump on a regular basis to declutter your mind in 2025. So hopefully you enjoyed this list of 25 things to declutter in 2025, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. We're gonna be working on all of those throughout the year. Thank you so much for watching.